Alright everyone, by now you've seen the carnage unfold across the markets. The headlines are screaming, portfolios are bleeding, and people everywhere are asking, what just happened? Well, let's be clear, Donald Trump happened. Yes, the former reality TV star turned president is back with a vengeance. This time, not just shaking up politics but turning the entire global economy on its head. We've officially entered unprecedented territory. Trump has triggered the biggest trade war of the 21st century. And it doesn't matter whether your country is a friend or foe, runs a trade surplus or deficit, everyone is getting slapped with a tariff. Let's break it down with the cold, hard numbers. European Union 20% tariff, Vietnam 46%, Japan 24%, South Korea 25%, China an extra 34%, Switzerland 31%, Taiwan 32%. This is not a random shotgun blast, it's a calculated assault on the world's manufacturing titans. Every single one of these countries builds the hardware of modern life cars, semiconductors, electronics, medicine. And here's the simple truth. If your country has a major industrial base, Trump wants to break it and move it to the United States. He's not hiding it, he's not sugarcoating it. This is economic warfare with one objective: deindustrialize the world, reindustrialize America. According to the Trump administration, this is the only way forward. Commerce Secretary Lutnick recently said, "The world must pay a membership fee to access the US economy." And that fee is a 10% universal tariff, with many countries paying much more. What's the vision? A $4 trillion manufacturing renaissance right here on American soil. Picture it: semiconductor fabs blooming in the Arizona desert, robotics labs rising in the Rust Belt, trade schools churning out high-paying jobs for HVAC techs, automation engineers, and clean energy welders. It's ambitious, it's bold, but there's just one colossal problem. Here's the part they don't want to admit. Tariffs are taxes, and guess who pays them? The American consumer. Every time you walk into a supermarket, a dealership, an electronics store, you'll feel the squeeze. 10%, 20%, even 30% higher prices. Tariffs don't magically come out of thin air. Producers pass them on, and consumers pay the price. Period. Already we're seeing signs of serious damage. The latest data from the Atlanta Fed shows that first quarter GDP is expected to shrink by 3.7%. Let that sink in. We're not just talking about a slowdown, we're talking about a sudden, violent economic contraction before the full force of these tariffs even kicks in. And remember, 70% of US GDP comes from consumption. If people stop spending, game over. Trump's strategy relies on one risky bet, that the rest of the world will just take it, that they'll eat the cost and keep selling to the US. But this is where the gamble falls apart. China is furious, the European Union is retaliating, even Canada and Mexico, America's neighbors, are pushing back. Europe in particular has found a soft underbelly: America's digital services industry. In 2023 alone, the EU imported over $110 billion more in US services than it exported. That's a massive trade deficit in favor of America. So now, countries like France are preparing to hammer big tech with digital taxes and regulatory crackdowns. We're no longer just talking about manufactured goods. This is becoming a digital trade war, and companies like Google, Meta, Apple, and Amazon are in the crosshairs. You want to see what panic looks like? The S&P 500 lost $2 trillion in market value in just 15 minutes after the announcement. US tech stocks are down 20%. Even Walmart, a bellwether for US consumer health, is falling sharply. If Walmart is collapsing, that tells you everything you need to know. Main Street America is breaking. And here's the chilling part: this could just be the beginning. Historically, in 2008, markets crashed by nearly 50%. In 2020, during the COVID lockdown, a 30% drop. Even the inflation crash in 2022 was over 20%. So far, we've seen a 12% drop. But if this snowballs into a global recession, and it very well might, we haven't even hit bottom yet. For decades, the US dollar has been the planet's ultimate safe haven. But that myth just got shattered. After Trump's announcement, the dollar fell 1.5% overnight, while the euro and yen strengthened. Investors are terrified. The supposed safe pot of gold that is the US economy, suddenly looking very risky. And here's the kicker: Trump and Besson don't care about the stock market. They need a crash. They want a systemic reset, cheaper assets, a weaker dollar, and a clean slate to rebuild American industry. But without QE or stimulus, that reset could mean economic suffering on a massive scale. Let's talk about Canada and Mexico for a second. Canada just pulled EV rebates for Tesla. Mexico is floating closer ties to China, a massive geopolitical shift. Why? Because Trump is targeting their auto exports hard. Mexico exported 3 million vehicles to the US last year. Canada shipped over 1 million. That's now under threat. A 25% auto tariff looms over their heads, with few exceptions. And even reciprocal tariffs of 12% will squeeze the life out of their economies. Meanwhile, back in America, prices are rising, wages are not, and spending is falling off a cliff. The average US tariff rate has jumped from under 5% to nearly 29%, the highest in a century. When the cost of basic goods rises by nearly a third, people stop spending. And when people stop spending, recession. Plain and simple, unemployment rises, businesses close, and the so-called economic renaissance gets buried under a mountain of unpayable debt. So here we are. Donald Trump has launched the biggest economic gamble in modern history. He's betting that he can reshape the global economy, with America at the center, without triggering a collapse. But the collapse may already be underway. The world is retaliating, markets are panicking, consumers are buckling, and America may not have the tools or time to recover. So I ask you, will the world hit back even harder? Will the US slide into a deep recession, and how bad will this market crash really get? Let me know what you think in the comments below, and if you found this breakdown helpful, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to see it. Because we're not just watching history, we're living through it. Stay safe out there.